All right, so we're gonna do the Book of Boba episode 2 review.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about this overall, real fast?
Vast improvement. This is the easiest way to say it, I think.
Loved it.
You know what I actually was
I got
like, there was a lot in this show. As a person who has a history degree, learning more about the Sand People. I did think they kind of Disneyed it up a little bit, though. I've heard a lot of people say, our friend your boy was throwing a fit about it today. That they're the Tusken Raiders, and of course, the modern world that we live in, it's got to be some kind of talk of this or that, and they're just misunderstand people. They try to clean it up a little bit with saying that every tribe is different, but it was a little bit. They made sure the train shot at them first. They made sure they we don't, okay, whatever. But that is something as silly as learning how to ride a speeder. Like, I was actually watching while he was going, that's how you drive those things? Like yeah. 2 forward, 2 back, one. It's like driving a tank in World War II is how you drive those speeders. Like, I never even thought about it before. I was like,
which is a lot of fun, honestly. Them going over like the small details like that. Just people, especially later on in the episode when they go over. I think my favorite moment of the episode was definitely when he shows up after has the branch, and they're carving the branch down into the staff. I guess I would call it. I'm not sure the name of that.
Great. Yeah. Starts with a G.
G. Yeah. I love that moment. Just like going over like the detail, like different tools and slow and everything, and the music, and leading into that ending where they have the dance around the fire. I love that. I just sat there captivated the whole time.
They were showing that the concept art was the eyes, the trees were actually Jawas in their concept art. And I will say, if I remember correctly, in KOTOR probably they actually explained, and I feel like they're nibbling at the explanation of what happened, which I think is a great story. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they could just use that 100%. That was a very, but I don't think they've really dived into, because I think it was the Rhodians, or how do you say their name? I can't remember.
The Rakatans?
Yeah, they're the ones that actually bombed the planet.
Yeah, that basically millennia ago, that the Tatooine was a lush tropical world, and that it was one species, but the Rakatan Empire basically glassed the world using a primitive super weapon, leading to the oceans drying up, and then the species that was there splintered off evolutionary-wise into the Tuskens and the Jawas.
Which makes sense, because they were showing the images of one big tree, one little tree, and you could say one was a Tusken, one was a Jawa. Originally, they were supposed to be Jawas in the tree, so you could see where they were probably kind of hinting at that.
And then with them suddenly saying like the ocean's dried up, and then when they're talking about stuff, just not necessarily meaning that like this ancient species blew up a world almost. It could just basically hinting at some of the ideas like that, which are fun.
No, I'm hoping that's not the only tree, because each taking the stick off it, eventually there's going to be no tree left.
Yeah, I was a little bit curious because in the show, it looks like I got hit with spice too, right? They blew some spice on him, I think it was, and then let the gecko lizard climb up his nose.
We've been trying to reach you about your home auto insurance.
Yeah. And then he goes on a trance walk. He goes on a walkabout, as our friend down there in the South would say.
Yeah.
Finds a random tree, and he does the right thing. Like, he must be an American. He did the right thing and just broke the tree.
He's George Washington, right?
We've actually like never seen any like trees in all the times we've been on this planet, but he breaks the damn tree right away and takes.
What do you have to do? Proof. I need that proof.
And then brings it back, and then, like you were saying, he gets to carve his own, becomes one of the people. I did see that one guy that I was watching was putting it together and was saying that a lot of the imagery was like, obviously they're not Jedi, they don't have the same belief system, but it was very similar to a lot of stuff, with trees and a lot of that stuff, and maybe that the Geico lizard was a lot like those owls. I can't think of the name of those owls right now, who kind of, lead people. They're like force kind of things. They lead people. And that could be like their kind of,
their interpretation of the force.
Yeah. And what their interpretation of the force could possibly be is, because, in the Legends, I don't think it's canon, but in the Legends, they have had sand people as a Jedi before.
Which I would love to talk about the Tuskens as a character, as a group spotlight later on after the series is done. And especially we could talk about we talked about him briefly in the Aura Singh episode was a Tusken Jedi taking over his father, who was a Tusken Jedi.
But so anyway, so the beginning of the episode starts with him going around and do a lot of threatening. He takes the guy that tried to kill him. He throws him down. A lot of people were disappointed about that. I wasn't disappointed until it got pointed out to me. Then I was kind of disappointed, but not in a horrible way. When they threw him down in the Rancor pit, and there ain't no Rancor. And then yeah. But then they mentioned that in Star Wars, the Star Wars cartoon, they wouldn't got a Rancor, and they were like, "Oh, that'd be cool if he was in there." So that'd have been kind of
what cartoon?
In Star Wars, the Clone Wars, they wouldn't got a. Wasn't it Clone Wars or was
no?
It?
You mean Bad Batch?
Bad Batch. I mean,
that was the Rancor from Episode 4.
Yeah, no, but people are saying it's
not. That was the 6. That was the same one. That was the exact
baby.
Rancor.
Yeah, because people are saying it's not the same one. So that's what I thought it was too. But they're saying it's not the same.
No, that's the same. Yeah, that was the baby version of the one that was in Episode 6.
Okay, well that's cool. But anyway, and then so that he goes through there, and he's threatening everybody, and then you hear the boom, boom, boom of the drums. When everyone says this should be coming, we don't really know what it was right away because they kept saying, "Where's your drums? Where's your everything?" And then one of the sexiest sights ever seen by men. What do we see coming down the street?
Which one? The two huts?
The twins. Yeah, I'm talking about the twins.
And then, Black Chrysanthemum.
Yeah, but I was talking about the twins and how they're like literally bending the
they're
walking on.
Well, yeah, it's bending the actual thing. Oh, it's like counted, by the way, after we talked about how the guy with the drum had the best job in the world. And then all those poor guys struggling. There were 4 on each side, and there was 2 on the front and 2 in the back. So there were 8.
I still don't know if that's enough.
There were 12 of them. There were 12 of them. Still was pretty.
The guy that I was watching, he did do a close up on it, and those guys did a great job. The actors on there, because he was doing a close up, and you see him going like.
I want to see the behind the scenes how they did that, where they made them look like they were struggling. That what did they have? Did they have anything or just a green square?
I'm sure just green screen.
But did they have any weight on it to make it feel like it was they're holding something?
And then they talked a little trash back and forth. I didn't catch the trash talk, but one of the shows I watched, they pointed it out that yes, they kept referring to him as the bounty hunter and not giving him any respect.
What I did like was that he was speaking Huttese. That we actually got to hear that.
And then he made a point to talk about a gladiator, which was, I guess, a little bit of trash talk to our friend that made the appearance, and is calling him a simple gladiator when he's, supposed to be one of the badass bounty hunters these days. So they're both kind of talking trash. And then they made a great line, which was, "They're huts, so we want to get rid of them. We can't just do it without permission," kind of thing.
Yeah, they get permission.
And so it's like the mafia. He's a made man. You can't just kill him. You got to get permission from the family. So that was kind of interesting. Then that was it. That little first part was it. And then the rest of it was basically flashback to him with the Sand People family.
Which I wonder how much do you think we're gonna still get a flashbacks? Because we do have
a lot.
Because we have essentially what we need to know going up is obviously just the moment we're gonna see when he rescues her from dying, and then how he gets the slave one again, and then basically and then him tracking down how does he track down Mando, basically.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot of flashbacks.
They're gonna speed through, I think, the next part with it because there's only 7 episodes.
So, yeah, and then probably the most action that we've seen. Mando had a few, but I mean, just
episode 2 of Mandalorian, it was when we had it was him still on the planet, and he leaves the planet with all the Mandalorians doing the attack at the end. So about maybe comparable amount of action, I'd say.
But they did the classic train robbing scene, which was pretty awesome. I remember talking to him about this and saying that wow, he really lost a lot of Sand People on that. I was surprised that they were so happy with him afterwards when he lost like half their soldiers. I thought that was a little bit weird. And I was telling them later that I watched one of those things they take down all the Easter eggs, and they were showing the same guy who did the cinematography for Back to the Future's train scene was the same guy who shot that, so that was pretty cool. And then later on they showed Lawrence of Arabia, which Daddy said was one of his favorite movies. And yeah, I was telling them that's pretty much clip for clip stolen. That was if you ever watched that movie, that was pretty right on the nose right there.
wanna
Now
say
the
4
the
hours.
badass Tusken Raider is supposedly a female, right?
Yeah,
It is.
she's female,
It
yeah.
is. It is. I will tell you again after the moment you tell me you're having a discussion. I watched it again. No, there is definitely there.
So
Well-
ridiculous. He's so ridiculous.
But yeah, no, it definitely.
It's definitely the person credited with that is a female. So they at least want you to believe that it's a female. We'll put it that way.
It is.
And there's rumors that it's not actually Tusken Raider, it's someone else, but maybe it's Tusken.
Well, are we gonna see what they look like under the masks? Is what I want.
Absolutely, I think so.
Hopefully.
Were we gonna see him? Are we gonna see Boba sucking face with any Tusken?
Oh, that I hope not. But I think we will. I think they're going to do that with the you had that moment in spoiler alert if you haven't watched The Mandalorian. You had that a moment very similar to that in The Mandalorian, we'll say. And then I think they will. They'll probably do it. I mean, I kind of hope not, honestly. Like
In shadow.
Yeah, I kind of hope not, but I got a feeling nothing's sacred anymore when it comes to Disney, so they'll probably do that.
I hope it just looks grotesque as hell. And then Boba's like, you know what? That's why I'm leaving the Tuskens. You guys actually look like this.
But we did have a face reveal, and that is the spike or whatever they're called. What's that?
Pikes.
Yeah.
And they keep looking worse and worse every time they show up in live action.
Yeah.
They
People
look really different than the cartoon, and they also look different than Solo when they showed up, and they look different here.
Well, that was supposedly the first time in live action they've showed their faces, supposedly. And
yeah, because in Solo they still had the masks on, and
yeah. I wasn't that impressed. It wasn't that original. It looks like another aquatic species, but it's still kind of cool, I guess. Yeah.
Well, they're literally pikes, like pike fish.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I liked the kind of deep dive into some of the Star Wars lore. What did you guys think?
Oh, I think it was great. I mean, clearly that scene where Black Cassandra comes on, it took me back to, you remember Terminator 2 when they're rescuing her from the insane asylum and she first sees Terminator show up and he comes around the corner and it's like kind of slow-mo.
Slow down, yeah.
Yeah.
That invoked the same kind of feeling as that exact scene.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope they do a good action scene. I hope they do a really good action scene when the time comes.
Haven't seen it yet.
So now we're gonna have to. I remember last week I was saying something about hoping that we're gonna get some kind of response from the Hutts, and we got the response from at least these Hutts. Who knows if they're speaking for the family or not? But they might just be kind of greedy and see if they can't get into a little mischief. So after tonight, after this thing, I'll probably be watching part 3, and then we can talk about it next week. Anything else to add tonight, guys?
No, not that I can think of.
All right. Well, that is our review of Book of Boba, and I guess we'll see you next week. Do we know what we're doing? We're just gonna do the right thing and wait until the day before.
Probably you can decide if you want to do the character spot.
We're gonna do the right thing and wait until the last minute. I'm gonna wait until like Sunday night and ask him, "Do we decide on anything?" That's probably what I'll do.
And then I'll be painstakingly going and screenshotting 75 issues worth of stuff.
I don't think if it's not next week, depending on what we see tonight when we watch the show, I think our little Chewbacca's cousin of some kind, I think that might not be a bad one we should do pretty soon, I would think.
I'm going to have to go back through 75 issues.
Moon Knight. I'm not aware of any character named Moon Knight. You can send me a screenshot.
It's Black Christensen's brother.
But all right, everybody, thanks for coming out. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.